So my name is Rita, and I do not work in Decrypt, besides my name, Ryta DeCrypt there. Uh, this name came out of a funny wordplay like Rita from the Crypt. And as I was in crypto, that was like a fun mix of name. Yeah. So I would like to tackle your imagination, bringing you to the idea of the potential of extended reality internet, which will come out of the merge of decentralized social networks and extended reality, which will become the new dimension of the decentralized social interaction for all of us. So what happens when we merge technologies in general? So how did we get internet? We have internet because of all the early networking protocols like ARPANET, for example, all the telecommunications infrastructure, the hypertext linking, the TCP/IP protocol, and then when the HTML got added, we got like the perfect World Wide Web, which became like the place for email, for e-commerce, and like for all the great stuff that we have online yet. So the smartphones we also got because of the merge of like all sorts of technologies, for example, touchscreen, GPS, cameras, all the like 3G, 4G, 5G cellular tech, and of course internet. How did we get Bitcoin? Of course, another merge of technologies like public key cryptography, hashing algorithms, like proof of work, all the P2P networking protocols, timestamping, Merkle trees, blockchain tech, and all the open source technology related to it. So now let's imagine if we merge all of these technologies, like all the blockchain tech, together with the decentralized social networks and all the interoperability protocols that come with it, and all the extended reality which already have merged, all the realities like mixed reality, augmented and virtual ones. All the internet with the current like Web 2 transitioning to Web 3 state. And the Bitcoin with its L2s and federations and all the current implementations on top of it, even including like inscriptions, ordinals like RGB and those kind of, let's say, shitcoinery on Bitcoin. So yeah, what happens when we merge all that? What happens is the evolution is that we're going to have new dimensions of interactions, new cool products, and we are going to be transitioning to the new evolutionary stage of the web. So let's talk about the evolution of the internet in the first place. I honestly see it as the brief history of adding dimensions one by one to our internet space. Dimensions for our interaction, for like our life, for our actions. Web 1 we can see as like 1D, super simple, just static and informative, read-only web. It was the most decentralized and interoperable type of internet, but it was very boring, unappealing, and just plain. Web 2, we already put a lot of like Web 2 games and websites, and it became interactive and social. We got all the social media going on. So now it's read and write. Where are we transitioning now to so-called Web 3? I know many Bitcoiners hate this word, but it's still, we have to somehow define the internet evolution. Now we see like this new internet as like the 3D internet, so we have another dimension added to it. So now we can own the content as well. So we are in the more transforming into the more decentralized and user-controlled internet space. But if you continue with this logic of like adding dimensions to the web, where do we go next? Like, what are the next stages of the web? Let's see. So, in my understanding, in my vision, Web 4 would be something that would eventually be truly decentralized and user-controlled, but will also be fully immersive, sensorial, and interactive through extended reality. And I don't mean like all the metaverses that they're creating right now and all that stuff. I mean like actual internet that instead of scrolling from page to page in your Google browsers, you would be actually able to immerse yourself into that kind of internet. Internet that you browse through virtual space and time, adding yet another dimension to that. And of course, feeling it with all of your senses while you go through that. This idea is not so implausible. All of these technologies that could potentially lead to that already exist. Like for example, OVR created the wireless digital scent machine. That's like when you go to virtual experiences, you can already code the bits of the smell, and the smell can be reproduced while you're playing a VR game or something like that. Tesla suits already figured out how to make us feel all the touches and shootings and like everything that we may perceive in the virtual reality. The Apple Vision Pro already lets you put the skin on your reality and basically out of your room create any kind of other space. So all of these technologies that could potentially create a new internet are already here. They're just on the very early stages, and they're not commercialized, and they're still kind of hard to get and kind of expensive and all of that. But if you follow this logic further, like yet another further stage of the internet, what would be Web 5? Like, what could you potentially add there? Like, what kind of dimension? Like, how would you tap into the fifth dimensional world on purpose at all? Like, would it be some through mind control, like with some brain chips, like Neuralink or something like that? Like, how would you envision that at all? Maybe that would be like some sleep technologies where the fifth dimension means the dreamland. Actually, these guys, REM sleep technologies, they already claim that they can put a virtual object into your dream, and then two people, while sleeping in a certain way, can interact with that object. So this is pretty nuts. I mean, we're still not there yet. But in the Web 5, by that time, who knows, maybe we add an actual like fifth dimension, our dreamland for our web interactions. That's a crazy thought, but maybe in 100 years it won't be that crazy. Okay, what are the other ways to tap into a fifth dimensional world? Of course, you can take shamanic medicine, like ayahuasca, yopo, DMT, and all of those kind of ceremonies. But guys, disclaimer, only do that with a trusted shaman and never do that on parties with your friends. Or like, what else did we hear about the Web 5? Well, we all heard this Jack Dorsey's project, Web 5. So now we're going back to a little bit less inspiring. Okay, what is it? A project? A platform? So what, like the new evolution of the internet is just a project where developers build tools? Like, I don't know, I don't think so. So yeah, like there was Decentralized web platform that, fresh news actually just from this morning, Jack Dorsey shut down this Web 5 venue. This is a fresh news just from today, so he apparently changed his mind about trying to create a decentralized internet. Or maybe what he was doing with this Web 5 project was just wrong in the first place, and the whole concept was just not there, and didn't have actually that much potential. But does it really mean that we have to stop trying to create decentralized internet? Can we actually build a decentralized internet? And what would be Bitcoin's role in that? The questions that we need to answer and the issues that we need to solve is that there are plenty of consensus issues within like tech communities and within Bitcoin communities. Like, okay, the first issue, what the hell is Web 3, Web 4, Web 5, which I just discussed. Nobody can kind of agree on that, which I hope we will. Then what I would like to discuss with you now would be what really defines decentralization in social networks. And yeah, the other issues that we potentially have is also defining what exactly are Bitcoin L2s. Are they actually working well? What are the differences between them and all the other protocols on top of Bitcoin? Like what is bad or good about the shitcoins on Bitcoin? Are they actually gonna screw up the L1, or we can maybe use some tools like RGB, for example, which would not endanger L1 of Bitcoin? So let's see. Let's start with what defines decentralization and with the history of social networks. So the evolution of decentralized social networks, I don't know if anyone ever used any of these, but it started in the 80s with the bulletin board system. And continued its evolution to the project like Usenet, which used articles that were posted to news groups and then relayed through the large network of interconnected servers. So I think from there came like this concept of relays that we use in Nostr. So then came Fidonet, which was using the store and forward system to exchange private or public messages like emails or forums. between the bulletin board systems. Then we had social network, the open source one like Diaspora, and then it was transcending to something like Mastodon, which was federated open source social network, where you could independently run servers, create your profiles, and interact with each other with ActivityPub protocol. In case of these very first inventions of like the free internet communication prior to crypto, there was no spam control and no verification. It was really hard to say and to verify if the message was real, if it was not tampered, or if it's just some nonsense. Then after crypto, we started seeing stuff like Steemit, which, I mean, that is questionably decentralized stuff, because depending on whether the blockchain is decentralized or not, that would be the service. So those are blockchain-based token incentivized social platforms. There were also a bunch of other ones like PPS and Lens came like with other blockchains. All of these already have better verification of the messaging and much better like security and trust, but the spam control, to be honest, is still really not there. So then came the blue sky. It didn't use the crypto, but it is like a new decentralized social media that still I thought would mention. And of course our favorite Nostr, which, now it's censorship resistant social network that relies on cryptographic keys and not just on usernames. So, but is it really decentralized? That is the question that many people are asking nowadays. So among all of those social networks that we just saw, obviously Nostr wins in several like obvious points. Like, of course, it's Bitcoin Lightning integration. It is, yeah. A great incentive for creators is is being paid with Bitcoin. So Zaps is a great invention which powers Nostr and makes it so popular. And of course, like the community support and the quality content which comes out of that. So Nostr also wins in the fact that this is a very simple technology and it's easy to integrate. Although this is a questionable win because sometimes its simplicity plays the opposite role, so it makes things actually not work and actually fail. That's what I heard from several Nostr developers, that yeah, it's easy to integrate, but then sometimes when shit doesn't work, it's not easy to fix. The digital identity points that yeah, there's no link like of the official ID, and actually there's no way to actually 100% prove who you are over there. Like there are ways to prove that you are not someone else, for example, but there are no ways to prove that you are you still. And the whole point of the censorship resistance, it is a questionable moment. Like, do we need to really let anyone post absolutely anything without absolutely any control? Like, even like crazy stuff like child porn or whatever. Like, you don't know, like some kind of censorship, I guess, somehow needs to remain for this to be like for this app to be able to be used by children, for example, let's say. But what makes the decentralized social network actually decentralized? The questions that need to be asked here, some of them are, for example, which role the nodes have in the network actually, and what has to be shut down for the entire system to fail. Also, are those networks interoperable? Like, can they work with each other? Let's take example as Nostr, comparing it to Bitcoin nodes, for example. Like, yes, we know that Nostr has the web of trust, but still, like, Nostr relays don't really talk to each other, and there's no automated way to control spam. Whether, like, the Bitcoin nodes, we know that they're all perfectly decentralized and communicating well using, like, any other nodes that they know about. So all the Nostr clients, they use specific Nostr relays. So if I start my own relay, people might not ever find it, and they might not be able to use it, and they might just decide to never use it, and then that's it, and then I'm going to be just sad. While, like, if I start the Bitcoin node, others will be able to use it to transact on without any like issues or obstacles. And of course, like when a bunch of Bitcoin nodes shut down, it's not gonna do pretty much any harm, and almost nobody is gonna notice, and the whole network would continue operating as it is, because it is truly decentralized. But of course, if main relays shut down in Nostr, the whole system, like all the apps, all the clients, they actually might potentially crash. If you compare Nostr relays to even the Mastodon servers, for example, those Mastodon servers, they communicate with other networks like Blue Sky through bridge services like BridgeFed, which facilitates interaction with the Fediverse. And for those who don't know what is Fediverse, that's the collection of many decentralized social networks that use open protocols, mainly ActivityPub. And of course, yeah, when a bunch of Mastodon servers shut down, the main network would still continue operating. Some data, some content might be lost, but the main tech would still continue working. So, is Nostr really decentralized? How many people here think that Nostr is like super 100% decentralized technology? Yeah? Not super 100%. Okay. But some of you do think that it's super decentralized. All right. Well, and the last question, just to keep you thinking, like, can Bitcoin power decentralized social networks like Nostr, or maybe improved Nostr? If you merge it together with extended reality, like, could it potentially take us to the new stage of the web evolution, where the internet is decentralized, user-controlled, and also fully immersive, sensorial, and interactive? Thank you.